People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. You always just happy when I've been given like. Are we over the League Cup final? Of course we're not, but as usual, you know, I'm at that stage now, people, where it's acceptance. It's happened now. Again, you're seeing Arsenal fans, some are crashing out, some are doing the whole, it's only 4 defeats, in which I always believe the reality is in the middle. We haven't had too many lows, but when the lows have been there, they've been very low. I remember, regardless of the result, remember how it felt against Brentford, against Wolves. It weren't a loss, but, well, some of them weren't. It weren't a loss, but again, they get 2 games for me against Liverpool, home and away. Obviously, we lost at Anfield and whatnot, people. So yeah, we'll get into that. Eze's out for a month. Manchester City's cup win, does that give them does that have a impact in the title race for you guys? And yeah, man, there's a bit of other isms and schisms to discuss. People, I am still here. I just want to close my window. You probably would have heard the what do you call these things, man? The window is putting me off, and I won't be able to give you everything that you deserve, which is the attention. And first things first, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and in some cases, good night. Whether you're an Arsenal fan or not, it's a pleasure to have you on the platform. Time is a limited resource that we're all forced to spend, and I appreciate the fact that you're spending however long with myself. Now, my quick thing over Manchester City, and I am going to bring out a video, and there's a lot to say. Well, I've said everything about the tactical approach, you know, psychologically for the gaffer and the players, you know, getting to a final versus still not getting over the line, how, you know, all of those kind of things, in-game tactics, proactiveness. Actually, I've moved that on you, and you got to learn from the best in it. And every manager, as Pep Guardiola says, is an idea thief. That 4-1-4-1, which we've seen, you lot have seen me for a number of weeks saying, why can't we replicate that in the way that they, not only the individuals on the pitch and stuff like that, but how they pressed? And for me, you see freedom within the framework. You know, that is why, beyond the obvious as to why Mikel Arteta isn't in the same realm as a Pep Guardiola or Luis Enrique, history and accolades and all those things. They find that balance. They've been able to pivot. We don't go off script, but that's actually not what I wanted to say. I wanted to say this, yeah. I'm at the stage now where, you know me, I'm a reflective person. Definitely when we've won a couple of cups, I know people. Definitely when we've won a couple of cups, when Man United beat Manchester City, what else is there? Newcastle last season. This isn't always the case, yeah, but this is something I said going into the game. The ones that aren't the favorites going into it typically win. Now, of course, I wanted to be wrong. As I said, psychological factors. If the shoe was on the other foot and City were in our place in the league and still in the champs and doing what they're doing, and we went out of the champs and stuff, I think we would have won. When I remove my my Arsenal cap, and I look at football from a purist perspective, I am not suggesting City didn't believe they could win or their players and whatnot. But I do think there was an element of that. Away from the obvious reasons as to why the man them are celebrating, you saw the way Pep Guardiola spoke before and after the game, especially about us, the camaraderie. I think they needed that, and they needed that hunger, especially because they went out against Real Madrid. For us, yes, I wouldn't change my position. You know, we're still kicking in the Champions League at the time of making this video. Obviously, we're still top of the Premier League. We need to get the job done. And we were, at that moment, going into a cup final. I won't say it's complacency, but them man needed togetherness more than ever, if you get it, where we ain't really had adversity in a minute. So it was I always wonder for the players, is that a factor, people? So yeah, it is what it is. But for Pep Guardiola, they deserved it psychologically, mentally. What it does for them, we're gonna have to see. On the pitch, they deserved it, you know. And again, football is logically illogical, and I think that's a lesson for Mikel Arteta, because it was a stalemate. You know, there weren't too many clear-cut chances. You know, I think Nico Riley's had the only shots on target for City. We've had some half chances when we've actually got up to the end of the pitch. So tactically, we mattered. But what I mean by the illogical stuff is, you know, my left back might make a run forward. My centre mid simply just maintains the space, and Nico Riley making that run into the final third to obviously score his goals. That kind of stuff is what we're lacking. We've got the framework, but we don't have the freedom, or the players don't. The players can't get away from it. A lot of them have been out of sorts with missing players. These are not excuses, but for us as a football club, in what we currently are under Mikel Arteta and these players, there's a lesson to learn there. Where I'm at, obviously, it's disappointing. I'm not going to be one of those fans that, oh my God, like it's the end of the world, we didn't win a cup. Of course it is, to a degree, because you're in a final. I've seen my team win finals. Obviously, I've seen us lose. It would have been a great moment. It's another reflection and using it as fuel and all that stuff that we're tired of hearing. But we still are in 3 competitions. We do want to compete in all of them. We've gone as far as we could go, in a cup competition that we ain't won since 1993. Prior to that, under Arteta, in which he can rightly so hold smoke for not taking it seriously. We have got to a final, and these boys, you have got to a final. So you have made progress in that regards. But it is getting over the line business. And there are psychological factors. I think there was an element of stage fright. I think Mikel Arteta probably got stage fright. I think that's your first final in front of fans, and all of these kind of things make a difference. But I think between this opening 6 minutes and probably what I've brought out already, with the live stream after the game and all the reaction videos, as I said, I will make other videos and make sure you lot are comfortable in this international break. But I think I've exhausted all of that. But if I've provoked any thoughts, please let me know your thoughts. EZE is apparently out for a month. Odegaard's apparently, close to fitness. We all know when one comes, another one does it, leaves. And although, we're still alive and kicking in stuff, bit bruised after Sunday, and we obviously had 8 players come in. You can never have too many players, if I'm completely honest. And it is reactionary, but you do wonder, why did you let Wanyeri go on loan? Now you've got EZE out, you've got Odegaard, who's going to have to be managed well in that regards. Wanyeri obviously went out on loan. Mikel Merino is out, and Kai Havertz, if it wasn't needs must, I genuinely don't think Kai Havertz, he either starts the final or he comes on. And the same being said for Benjamin White. So there are questions. And at the end of the day, do I want to hear Eze's injured? Bitterly disappointing for him, because he's finally found his feet. We were approaching the final. I don't want any player, whether I want them in the starting lineup, to be injured or not. Reality is, this is what you've got. What you've got available is what you've got available. What you don't have is what you don't have. You need to obviously win against Southampton for obvious reasons. It's a cup game, all that kind of stuff. But we all know the talking points. If you obviously lose a cup final, you've had a bit of days to reset and go again, you obviously lose again. But beyond that, in terms of just a reset and getting back on that horse, you need to win against Southampton. It's not going to be easy, but you definitely, every game you need to win in it. But you need to win against Bournemouth at the Emirates, because after that you've got City. And in my heart of hearts, prove me wrong, boys, I don't think you're going to go there and win. And I purely believe that. And I do believe that, because history isn't kind. I do still think we have that element of the handbrake, or not necessarily playing for a draw, but it's like a boxer, we're bobbing and weaving. And there probably is a psychological factor in that. On paper, we don't have to win. We have to win because it's Arsenal, we want to win every game, but you get where I'm going with that. So there's been many twists and turns. I've said this for the last few weeks. We are going to drop points. City are going to drop points. I still maintain, and I hope I'm wrong, that this goes down to the wire. But yeah, it is what it is, people. That's my opening thoughts. Let me just hear what you lot are saying now. Appreciate you, Jesse Updown. Most composed Arsenal fan I've ever seen. That clip of you and Abby on TalkSport going around Twitter. I mean, Abby's a good sport, man. Like, it looks a bit heated. The one thing that pisses me off with that is a couple of things in that. Like, obviously, like, if we've been talking for half an hour and that's the juiciest 10 minutes, owing to the industry, that's what's going to get clipped up. It is what it is. But people are hearing things out of context. Now, for me as an Arsenal fan, whether I've been here or on social media or whatnot, yeah, we've been running banter and things like that. But you lot know I don't subscribe to the quadruple and all of that. And one thing I don't like is, like, it's like, one Man United fan, one Liverpool fan, one Chelsea fan, one City fan could say something, or a group of them could say something, and then it all, like, it's all us in it. It's all of us kind of thing. And I do think there's an element of an overreaction. Like, you're gonna get vultures, you're gonna get people like Steve O the Madman, like, oh my God, I can get some engagement off this, and you're gonna get bare stuff. But I've got family and friends chatting to me, I've got industry people chatting to me. I'm like, it's all calm. Like, it is what it is. Like, in that regards, injuries are long, man, but it is what it is, man. I don't know what you're saying there, my boy, but yeah, you won. Make sure you win the Prem. And all I'm going to ask is, by all means, throw the banter my way, or Arsenal fans my way. If we have our day in the sun, which it hasn't been kind, the last 3 years, and obviously you could include the final, so 4 years hasn't. Don't give it, but struggle to take it, in it. So laugh it up, do all of that. I just hope they stay humble thing and all of that is there when the shoe's on the other foot. If it is, big up yourself, gent next door, Hyper, Rob, Lintz, Michael, far too kind. 2-week international break, but it's a false 2 weeks, isn't it? Because we're back in action next week. Like, obviously, this week there's no action. You know, big up the ladies because they're playing Chelsea, I believe, today in actually just under an hour. What, this next Saturday we're back in FA Cup action, innit? And then what? Like, so it's really just a week. I do like my players. It's difficult to know who's really got an injury, who's, you know, trying to save their legs, all those kind of things. But it feels like for the first time in a hot minute to see Arsenal players pulling out of international duty, apart from, you know, the Declan Rices of this world and Sakas, man, it's not going to kill them. It's not going to kill them to obviously miss something. Kepa, you know I can't say his last name, will 100% play against Southampton FA Cup because Sporting are going to torture Raya at the Champions League before the FA Cup game. I mean, by all means, run banter, and I do think Kepa's going to play in the FA Cup, but I think you're sadly mistaken. You know, we're playing on the 7th, I believe, of April against Sporting Lisbon. We're playing on the 3rd or 4th next Saturday against Southampton. So if you're going to talk nonsense, calm down, actually look, yeah? Relax, because you're sadly mistaken there. I hope that's not the case. Obviously, as a non-Arsenal fan, you want that, but just take time, clean your sticky keyboard, use this. This is the greatest skill you can have in life. Football mirrors society. It doesn't matter from a footballing perspective how fast you are, strong you are, or how worthy you are. If you don't use this, you're going to be in issues. Now, relating this to this live stream, by all means, run the banter, but use your common sense. Thank you for listening to my TED talk, man. But yeah, your TikToks have been growing. Appreciate you. It might have been you, Van, yeah, but one of you was like, you should make TikTok. One of you lot were on me about TikToks, and for like a year it was dead. And now it seems like we're getting somewhere, man. Say, wallahi, EZE out for a month. No way. I mean, the only saving grace, and I won't say saving grace, Carl, we need everybody available, is we kind of cheat it a bit, like in that you're out for this week. You're out for the Southampton game. At a push, happy days, you're about to play some capacity against Sporting Lisbon. You know, you'll probably be back after the Bournemouth game. I'm at the point where, of course, I'm going to miss EZE, but it is what it is. Just get the job done, man. We've been here with injuries. It is what it is. Is there something the players need to research in terms of their rehab? Is it something to do with the amount of games just generally for all these players, or Mikel Arteta's demands, which I don't necessarily subscribe to in training, because you do need to train the way you play. And when you look at the fixture calendar list, like example, bearing in mind they've had a bit of a rest here, but these men have played in the final. Some of them have gone off to their country. But if we focus on next Saturday to Tuesday, there ain't that many times that you're literally not going to train. It's rehab and then off to Portugal after the Southampton game. So it's an interesting one. We're just gonna have to get on with it, bro. We're gonna have to get on with it. And you know what, EZE has played, even though I feel there's been many an Arsenal fan, including myself, we've been on to Arteta, yo, play EZE. He's played statistically more minutes, and now he's picked up a knock. Couple man have been in and out. Like, it would be easier for us as Arsenal fans to actually sit there and think, right, who hasn't been injured this season? Because I'm sure once Arteta said Raya had a knock, so he's played with it. I can't remember Raya missing a game because of injury. It's been a long season, but I'm sure he said that. But we'll leave Raya. Kepa's not been injured. Timber's been injured. Calafiori's been injured. Nkapie's been injured. Saliba's been injured. Magalhaes has been injured. Mascara's been injured. Look in midfield, various degrees. Rice has been injured. Zubi's been injured. Odegaard's been injured. Kai Havertz has been injured. Mikel Merino's had an injury. Fair enough, Wanyeri weren't getting game time anyways. Wanyeri's had an injury. I'm sure even Miles Lewis-Skelly's had a knock, but we'll leave his name out because I can't 100% verify that. What other players we got? Saka's form's been poor. He's had an injury. Martinelli's had an injury. Trossard's had an injury. Gyökeres has had an injury. Noni Madueke's had an injury. And Jesus has had a knock as well, even. And at this point, if I've not said a player's name, Norgard's had an injury. And that's not just us, that's many a club. I'm genuinely trying to think who hasn't been injured. But that's part and parcel of the game. And unfortunately, not even just relating this to Arsenal, but the world of football, it's only going to get worse. You're seeing expanded tournaments. You're seeing made-up tournaments, which counts into the expansion. More friendlies. Purely, I'm focusing at international level. Then you look at the World Club Cup if you make it. You look at the Premier League and the rigors of it and whatnot. It's not going to get anywhere. The people that control the game that we love and are in charge of this, there's too much money and TV rights and whatnot. They don't care. The players are guinea pigs. Them fat cat executives, they're just going to tell every manager of all the 20 clubs, yeah, and emphasis more on the traditional top 5, top 6, just have a bigger squad, just have more players. And that's where we're heading to. You man got the league anyways. it's not over till it's over, man. 9 points is a healthy cushion. I wouldn't swap my place with City, but at the end of the day, I do think we're going to drop points. So there can be no complacency. And, you know, in previous years, I always used to look at City's games in hand as like formality, realised points. But as good as Manchester City are, and it's testament that they haven't been the best City side, but, you know, they've won their first comp. You know, they're competing in the Prem. They're still in the FA Cup, you know. They're out of the champs, but they're still in the 3 of the 4, right? They're still in the 3 of the 4. You never know. Do I think we're going to win at the Etihad? I hope I'm wrong. I wanted to. Every year on this stream, I've said, yo, it's time to win at Anfield. It's time to win at the Etihad. You ain't won at Anfield. Can you win at the Etihad in a title potentially winning season? History isn't kind. We ain't won there since Coquelin and Santi Cazorla was our midfield, right? So I don't know. I can't 100% say that. I don't subscribe to Mikel Arteta and the players setting up for a draw. I don't think managers do that. Of course, when you're in the game, you weather the temperature, but I don't know if you're going to perform how I want you to perform at the Etihad. I do think you're going to drop points like with City. But if we were to, not to be a scaremonger, because we could extend our gap, I do think if City in the Premier League lose and draw their next games, I do think the league is wrapped up. And then I'm really looking at my boys in that you hit yourselves over there on the best of days. You can't kind of afford to do that, right? But 9 points, you could say, all right, they win their game in hand. Let's say 6. All right, God forbid, but they beat Arsenal. That's 3 points. Now, there's a reality. We could win at the Etihad and not win the league title. We could lose at the Etihad or not take 3 points at the Etihad and go and win. So we just, like I've been saying all season, we ride the highs and the lows, left foot in front of the right. When we win, don't get excited. When you lose, don't get excited. The only thing to get excited about is when it's mathematically confirmed, like in City's case, no one can win the League Cup but you on the Sunday because you literally, you know, won the final. Or for us, nobody can finish ahead of us in the Premier League apart from us. And the champion, you don't know my thoughts, innit? The League Cup, you had a 50% chance. You got to the final. You never made it happen. FA Cup, I do think it's Liverpool's, but they are playing Cities, and there's a minimum domestic double on for them, or maybe a domestic treble, God forbid, if they win the league. But FA Cup, we've got a big chance. I felt we've had a big chance in all the domestic competitions. Got to a final. All right, cool. FA Cup, since we've won it, we ain't been good, but you got a chance there. The league, you're in the driving seat. Do the job. Champions League, for me, is playing it by ear, because I've seen what a team... Well, with Arsenal, I've seen what it's like to get to a final, and I don't want to sound outdated, but it's not just ability, like men, bro. Like, I'm not saying our players are not men, but like men, just job done, standing up in adversity. No one gave you a chance against Real Madrid. I know these boys beat Real Madrid. You done that. Juventus, you done that. You know, and I do think when you work hard, you do get an element of luck along the way. Like, you know, when Raquel may miss that penalty, if I can remember correctly. Obviously, if VAR's there, we probably win our first Champions League. It weren't to be. I think it comes down to psychological factors, individual brilliance. I still think there is an element of Arsenal not rising to the occasion. You do get the random ones, like, you know, testament to the boys. They earned it and they did everything against Real Madrid. But, you know, if we were to play Bayern Munich tomorrow, I don't know if you'd win. I would, like, if you had Bayern Munich tomorrow in two realities or two different worlds, you got Bayern Munich in the league phase and you got Bayern Munich in the quarter, semis, whatever have you. I think you lot would win in the league phase. I don't know if you'll beat Bayern Munich this year, a bit like with PSG. So for me, there's certain things I want to see. Of course, let's go as far as we can. Let's try and control the controllables. For me, the champs is playing it by ear. I really want it. I don't really rate our chances. I'd love to be proven wrong. And I'm probably repeating myself. Just for me, I just feel, on the topic of earning luck or the footballing gods blessing you, I've seen Liverpool come from 3 goals down and win the Champions League. And big up them for beating Spurs, but like, that will be the Champions League final I always remember when I think of Liverpool. 3 goals down, they won it. I know Chelsea have won it twice with our boy Kai Havertz, but, you know, when they went to Bayern's backyard and their season was a bit dead, you know, Czech standing up tall, making great saves, and obviously that, they got the Bandulu. Man United's ones were Bandulu. And again, I'm not discrediting any of that. 1999 was a bit booky. Obviously, John Terry slipping. I don't think we're going to get none of that. We're going to have to be perfect players in final form or just pulling their fingers out. And I can't sit here and tell you that. And also, I'm not just talking about the players, the gaffer. The gaffer's got to go to war with himself. As I always say, if we want to get to somewhere we've never been, then each one of us has to be something we've never been before. And I'm sure Arteta would say he's evolved in things, but I don't see anything in your coaching philosophies of great significance that you look like 12 months ago. You look very different, if that makes sense. At a push, you know, with Zubamendi, there's less emphasis on the left back really in build-up play. There was a point this season going back to before Calafiori got his injury a couple of international breaks ago, when Timber and Cala were the guys at fullback. You know, it still had issues because we were talking about our attackers, but I did see something different with the fullbacks. So yeah, man, it is what it is. The most important things are still in front of us. But our lack of technical quality is concerning. I don't think there's enough quality to win the Champions League. Might be enough to win the league from this position. Watching the game again, we could have done with someone to receive the ball from defense with composure and play punchy passes. Dare I say it, someone like Partey. Them things could have helped. I'm not saying you're naive here, but one man wouldn't have helped us. Because you saw the overloads that they were making on the right-hand side, our left, and forcing Gabriel Magalhaes out wide. You also saw in build-up play, obviously we're trying to conventionally build up from the back. Short play is not working. Long play is not working. You know, we're then trying to cheat it a bit where, you know, if Nketiah is part of a back four in build-up play, he's trying to steal a couple yards. Rice is pulling out and all of those things. But all our players were being dragged towards the ball. So I don't think it would have made a difference. Obviously, Rice is a better keeper, but in hindsight, I don't even think the only thing I can say is Raya probably doesn't make that mistake. He's made mistakes, but he probably don't make that mistake. There's something for the gaffer to change, like that 4-1-4 run from City. And that's the main thing I want to see from the gaffer, because we do have a good defensive ethos. Like, what I mean by that is the whole team will, you know, if there was any positives to take from the first half, you know, we'll hold our shape. We believe in ourselves. We'll be compact. That's what I mean from the ethos, from Gyökeres all the way to the keeper. We've got that, right? Obviously, our defense in general are just good players. And so you've got good ethos, you've got good defenders, and you've got Rice and Zubi who are going to, you know, mucking in the midfield and all of those things. For me, I want to see more freedom within a framework, because I'm seeing Nico Riley play left back and then go in midfield. I'm seeing the fullback swap. Sometimes, sorry, the wingers swap. Sometimes they're narrow and then they're inverting. The use of Bernardo Silva, who it weren't a free role, but you're kind of playing like an 8, a 6, a winger, just a bit of intelligence. And the better example will probably be Paris Saint-Germain, where if you look at them last season on paper, João Neves is the 6, right? So he's the deepest of the midfield. Sometimes he's up there. This is what I mean by the freedom is the freedom within the framework. The system is there. The system, 90% we're there. That 10% is what we're lacking. That 10% is seeing your strikers just do a moment of brilliance. All the highlights that we part of the DVDs, if we win a league or any trophies, that's what we're missing. And I've spoken about this last season. I've spoken about it in June, July, August, all the way through to 2025 and up until this point. Now, I'm not naive, you know, at best, especially in the attacking realm. I just have to hope a player goes through a real big, good patch of form, like Trossard was doing in more or less the first half of the season, prior to his injury, like what you were seeing with EZE. You know, Gyökeres, since the turn of the year, has been all right and looked a lot more with it. That's all I can hope for, really, because I don't think this is, like, again, I don't think the system's going to change. Like, I don't. It's not going to change now. Why would you do it now? Like, why would you try anything radical now? You could argue you need that, but why would you do it now if you're the gaffer? When you've got 7 games to go to get over the line, obviously, you know, there is the rhetoric in if you're doing the same things, the same results, but you got 7 games to go. Whatever people say about Arsenal, like, you've been able to win games in the Prem, Champions League, you get a lot more plaudits, in my opinion, from the European media, from the coaches, and I think they more rate us than in England, didn't it, if I'm honest? So nothing's going to change, bro. I just don't believe the dynamics were right for playing out from the back without one of Raya or MLS starting. Even Kala starting at left back would have suited us better with Kepa starting. And even that, you go and look at the game, bro. What did they do? You've got that 4. They pressed. City did press, but they didn't press aggressively. Like, Kepa, you can have the ball. Gabriel Saliba, you can have the ball. And we've seen that this season before. Anyone that's played the game knows at some point, Saliba or Gabriel, they're going to force it. They're going to force it because they're frustrated. But 9 times out of 10, like with City, you can't go down the left, let's go down the right. Can't go down the right, go down the left. It's not even that our players are safe. A lot of them are, but logically speaking, there's no lanes. You can't force a pass all the time. There are times in games like I wanted in the final where you have to say, fuck it, kitchen sink time. But it goes beyond the personnel. Like, obviously, I love Zubamendi. It's either Zubamendinho or Zubamidi, like in the final. But you've got him. And again, a lot of, like, even yesterday, I replied to a tweet online, and I've been doing a lot since the whole Abby Me clip. But everyone was rising up Zubamendi's like his Spain highlights and all of that kind of stuff. And I said, one, look at the player. Like, look at the player, because that's another player that's come to the Emirates, and it's like his wings have been clipped, or we're looking at him funny, which wasn't said the last season with him or Eze. You know, whether you rate Zubi or not, Arsenal wanted him, Liverpool wanted him, Madrid, Xabi Alonso wanted him, Bayern tried to get him, Barca were onto him with Xavi Hernandez. There's got to be something. But don't actually just watch him and his passing and stuff. That's only one of the things I mentioned, yeah, when I added. The second part I said is look at the passing lanes, because the midfielder can have all the ability in the world, can find all the passes. Where your teammates are standing dictates what's happening. Football's like a dance. It's literally a chess match. So these are the things that need to change. or you're just gonna have more square pegs in round holes. I feel for EZE to get injury right now after hitting some form can't be easy. Man was talking big nights, enjoy the league. Real. But with EZE's injury, the fairy tale is set. Step up, master Max D. Boy, it's a lot on the 16-year-old, but come off the hour, come off the man. DG, please make the chat sub only. I've been forgetting about that in the last few days, but you know what, my killie, you're right. You're actually right. You're actually right. Ain't it? Oh gosh, yeah. Go on, aim. Fair enough. It's done now. Jamie, appreciate you. Nathan, appreciate you. BG, appreciate you. We're gonna get into all of that. Hopefully, City don't win the Premier League, but you have to fight, innit? Ain't got time for that. Man City will do a domestic treble, mark my words. It'd be amazing for Pep. I'd cut if I was Pep and he does that. Arteta, I'd back you to not even back you, that's the wrong word. Do I think you're going to get sacked or leave? No, I don't. I still think you're going to get a new deal. Me personally, I think that deal's already been signed. We're just waiting on an announcement. Now, I do back your integrity. And what I mean by that is if we didn't win anything, we all know the conversations and where it needs to go. But if you were to stay, I don't doubt that you would think you could do it again, would rise up again and whatnot. Me personally, I think you need a new voice now. I just think something's different. Like you've taken us as far as you can. You might go and achieve things in your managerial career. We might get worse, we might get better, but sometimes that just has to happen. Football sometimes is romantic, but it's unromantic at times, man. You look at Harry Kane, couldn't win a damn thing for Spurs, one of the most deserving of players there. The minute he leaves, they win something. These are the kind of things. This is like football's a bit like life, man. So I hope that's not the case, man. I don't want to hear excuses from end of the season. Watch us finish second. I mean, right now we have to fight in it, so I'm not entertaining that. But what I don't want to hear is no excuses. By all means, we can analyze where things went wrong. Like you didn't get over the line, As I said in the beginning of the season, and really up until the final, you got 4 opportunities of silverware. Yeah, if you don't rise up one of those, and I know a lot of people would have been disingenuous to the gaffer if we won the league title and obviously didn't win anything else. But last season, and again, if anyone has any integrity, and this ain't me backing Arteta, everyone was saying, Arsenal fans or not, trophy's a trophy. You got to win something. You know, look at what Newcastle did and this, that, and the other. That could have been your little banker. In the same way, City might get gassed up again. You know, it's like City are like a beautiful gal. They've been in a toxic relationship. Winning that trophy is like finding a guy that, you know, isn't like the other guys. They remember they're beautiful again. We're the insecure darlings. We know we're all right and whatnot, but when the lights get a bit too bright, man, they're getting stage fright. And I don't know, man. I don't know. As a collective bunch, I don't know, because a lot of you have had moments where you've won and you've lost, and I don't know. I just don't know, man. Maybe we're cursed. Thoughts on Norgard only playing 56 Premier League minutes? Arteta don't rate him. Arteta doesn't rate him. And what I mean by he doesn't rate him, he doesn't doubt his credentials, who he has as a person. If he has to play him, he will, but you don't rate him. We all know what would have been the case. We might have even been looking at Zubi a lot better. He wanted to keep Partey, Zubimendi, but a mixture of obviously the off-field nonsense, which we don't condone with Thomas Partey, the wages, it was a myth. Norgard was somewhat available. He's not going to break the bank. He's going to be on less wages than Thomas Partey. For Berta and Arteta, there's more money to pour into kind of other realms, you know, and it was a quick little deal. It was just someone to be part of the squad. You know, I'm not saying Norgard is better than Zubi or Partey, but you can't go from playing week in, week out for Brentford in actually moments where you have to hold on and do all of these things to what he's doing now. You can't tell me you rate him. You don't rate him. You either don't rate him as a footballer, you didn't really want the guy, you don't rate him as a footballer, you didn't really want the guy, whatever the tactical nous you think you're trying to make your midfield play, you don't think Norgard can do that, nor are you prepared to tailor it in some sort of way. You can't rate him that much. And you know he's an experience, bit like Kepa. Of course, they're going to be upset about not playing and whatnot, but they're mature individuals. That is a shock, because I did say in the summer, I did feel looking at the squad and when everybody's fit, is regardless of what I believe about Miles Lewis-Skelly's ability or like the rise he had, it's easy to leave him, Wanyeri, and at the time also Dalman out. It's easy to leave the young G's out. It's very different when you've got experienced players. And I always give you the example, not to say anyone can't make mistakes, but if there's a 10-game period, Arteta is going to bet on that experienced player that's going to give him 6 out of 10 across those 10 games. A young player might be 20 out of 10 the first 2 weeks, hooked at halftime in the others, and just indifferent beyond that. So go and get the thing done. Thing is, a lot of people saying we are going to win the league. What people don't forget is Arsenal seem to bottle the league. People don't realize history isn't kind to us. But at some point, history has to change, bro. And these players have to go and get it. I'm not here to say believe and all of that. You can do the woe is me thing. You can not doubt yourself just because you slipped up. And also you can be proud of yourself, get to a final, but falling short. End of the day, nobody cares. Unfortunately, in life, nobody cares. That's the mentality. Nobody cares. By hook or by crook, do you lot want to get this over the line? Because, of course, we're going to be hurting as Arsenal fans, but it's you lot that's going to have to sit there with that familiar taste in your mouth that you've had in the last 3 domestic campaigns, innit? City will win the Premier League. It looks like 23 season brick. Same thing low to Pep, game in hand, make or break game at the Etihad. Mikel can't beat Pep based on a final. Sad state. Crazy loss, still feel away. Don't we all, world boss, man? It was time to win the Katyaba and Arteta started Kepa. Boy. And maybe you put your own personal needs and what you personally feel about the squad, you know, below the club, because it's first final in 6 years. The trophy ain't won in 1993. And it was a learning curve for you because you ain't been in a final in a hot minute. You probably can't remember what 2020 feels like, and it's in front of fans. But yeah, we hope EZE is back by the City game. But pardon me, it is what it is. And to be fair, there's always 2 sides of bringing in depth. There's always that question which we have in the first couple of weeks of the season where, oh my God, who's going to be in the squad? The man that isn't in the squad every week, oh, his future's done. Arteta's got to play him, he's got to go on loan, he's got to leave. Then, because of the rigors of a campaign in the Premier League, much less all the cups, bodies start dropping like flies. So my point of saying that is to say this. You lot are far more experienced in squad building and football and all of that stuff more than me. You had to know if you get to ground zero where, like we're seeing, we haven't been able to really nail down who is in that Odegaard role. None of the players have. If bodies are dropping like flies, you've got to find a solution. If you really believe in this team, and I mean, I don't subscribe to it, but belief is not what I'm saying. But all this, there's no first teamers, there's no hierarchy. Everybody can play everyone. One thing some Arsenal fans did like to run is our second base team. If everyone's fit, our second choice team could probably get into the top 4. Show me that now, innit? Show me that now, innit? Arsenal need to free ourselves from signing and playing Chelsea scrubs. Anyways, treble still on. Shameless thing, but I'm here for it. Also, where is MLS? This guy went from starting at the Bernabeu to no games in how many now? Couldn't tell you the last time Lewis Skelly started in the league, mate. Could not tell you. And I feel sorry for him. It's of his own doing, but I feel sorry for him because what was it against Mansfield? Well, I was excited to see him play and whatnot. One of you told me, oh, he's picked up too many yellows, so he's been shagged. But he's on 15 mil a year. And our squad is decent. It's a fair question. Away from agendas, just general football talk. It's fair to ask, why have you not got over the line? Because we've won with less. And a part of me does think that with... I subscribe to this, but I don't. Like, looking at Arteta, have you gone from... You've only had milk, cheese, and bread in your cupboard / fridge, yeah? And now you've got everything. And what I mean by that is when everybody's... You got bare options. Can I get EZE another guard? What do I think about Kai Marino? What Kai gives me up front and Gyökeres? The relationships Gyökeres and Saka could have. Trossard and Martinelli and this one in defense, that one in defense. And how my defense ties into attack. Am I attacking to defense and all this? Have you got too many options? Because right now you're staying the same way, but is it just mind games? You've gone from things kind of... Because remember, like, when I know it's a different scenario, but 6 years ago when we won the FA Cup, the squad kind of picked itself. So, yeah. Struggling to create with EZE in the squad. Without him, there's no hope. Still can't believe how badly beaten Arteta was on Sunday. Pep really schooled him. City won't lose any more games. It looks like Pep found a system to stop long balls by beating us was like working out meta of the league. They will, but so will we. Like, because people were saying that when they won at Anfield. Kai got injured and fans tried to rewrite history. He reminded them of who he is. Some of us never forget. And it's true. And even though Kai's nothing to scream and shout about, at the end of the day, bro, like, he's not fully fit. We're rocking up into a final with players that are not really fully fit and not really doing the job. On top of everything we've been discussing. Yeah, man. It feels like Arteta just threw everyone under a bus. It's not even one of those hybrid buses. It's the full diesel, so we choke. It's driven over to us. No Marino, EZE, Wanyeri, and an unfit Odegaard. Saka is with Noni as right wing and Dalman off the bench. Kepa fans, the starting 11, Berta feels like everyone got thrown under the bus by Arteta. His coach is also thrown under the bus because I know for a fact none of them would select Kepa. But any other questions beyond, like, we're not going to win the league and the sky is falling? Like the vid, have you? Trust me, ask them again. City pushed right up to our penalty area and didn't press Kepa. They knew he doesn't have the accurate long balls. And again, they were prepared to win their first and seconds because Gyökeres can't win them all by himself. Like, even if Gyökeres wins the first, chest it down, there's nobody next to him. So this is where you played into City's hands. If Odegaard's back after the international break, does he get into the starting lineup? It depends on his fitness because he ain't ready to play 2 90-minute games on the spin. Because we've seen with Ben White what happens. A wise man once said, if nothing changes, nothing changes. It was worrying how poor we were second half aside from Kepa's mistake. The fact he was keeping his foot on the ball for so long comes from the manager. That needs to be a wake-up call. And that's actually one thing I'm not pissed off with Kepa about because it ties into what we're talking about, playing out from the back, having passing lanes and all this kind of stuff. Well, go on, Killy. Appreciate you. Next match is so important. Need to see a massive reaction from me. There's no real pressure on in our next game, so we probably will. We're still on for the league, guys. The nice thing about the league is that there are 19 other teams that have to be played. It's not just City versus Arsenal every week. Boy, I can't lie. I'm on you as well, you know. You was telling man quadruple and this and that and the other. DG, do you think we would have been better off playing Callot left back and MLS in the 8 to help progress the ball forward? Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I'm Calafiori and Hincapié. I probably still would have went with Hincapié, but that is more of a one. I might have gone for Cala in the build-up. What I would say is that should have happened at half-time. What you're saying, that should happen at halftime. That should have definitely happened in the first 15 minutes, just before the goal went in. Go and watch the first goal again. They've struck at the third chance. Because if you remember, we're getting caught playing out from the back. We've got away with it once, City have won the ball back in our half. We got away with it twice, City have won the ball back in our half. The third time, it led to our demise. DG, my guy, fan base needs to settle. We have had blips in recent runs this season and came off from it with a decent run. League Cup final will mean nothing when we win bigger comps. If we do, who should we be looking at for a backup keeper? Because if Raya gets injured, it's looking so dark at the moment. I wish I had a clue, man. Part of me wishes we actually signed Rafinha, who is not a goalie, and that Garcia lad. So Mendy ain't good enough, hides in big games. Be harsh. Bro, I can say quad as much as I want. I didn't expect the man on 15 mil a year to do a buckler thing in the final. Boy, I told you, man. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. Tata should have taken Kepa off at halftime as it was clear it wasn't working. Don't forget, it's a big ego boost to Arteta. As much as we can hide behind the trust and he believes in Kepa, and I don't doubt that. It's your all managers got ego. You wanted to play him, innit? That's actually, whether I agree with it or not, that's actually one thing that I don't think Arteta regrets, because you wanted to do that. If there's one thing that's peed me off about Mikel Arteta away from the football field, and I know if life was fair, we'd all have a lot less and things, but if I listen to the post-game comments, right, or I read on Arsenal.com like we did yesterday, and when he's talking about like the Kai Havertz chance, we know it was Kai, but from reading it, we don't know it's Kai. It just feels like when Martinelli, who is nothing to scream and shout about, Eze at Anfield, couple of other guys, their name dropped. Now I shouldn't be thinking anything of that, but I am, if that makes sense. So it is what it is in that regards, man. I'm getting some tea. I gotta have something to make me smile a bit now. Arteta vexed me. Something vicious. Bring back Ramsdale. It's not that deep with Mikel. He was a mid-table player, so he'll always have mid-table mentality and hang-ups. He only played one FA Cup final, and it was the shaky 3-2 game. Never played a final after shot. I hear that, but then, bro, you've been at City. Because there's certain experiences in life, you know, there's certain experiences in life you have to get through going through it, if it makes sense. But there's also experiences you can learn from other people. And that's why when I look at, like, apparently your work with Sane and Sterling and what we're doing with our wingers and certain other things, it's like, these are the things I'd love to have a conversation with the guy about. Do you think we need to add more technical players in the midfield in the summer? All technical players are welcome, but you can buy the ingredients. You need to know how you're making chicken soup, innit? Like, if you don't know how to put no dumplings and potatoes and this and that, it's dead. Sign him, and I said this in the summer. I said, listen, I'm happy about it. Say, cool, we got a striker. We're over the whole Sesko and Gyökeres stuff, and even with getting Gyökeres over the line, we've got that. Don't think we should have bought Noni, but you went and got that. I did say you're very naive if focusing on Zubi, who can do better, Eze, who could do better, Gyökeres, who could do better. You're very naive if you think you just slap those, because those three were the game changers, innit? You just slap them on the pitch and think everything's going to work out, because you saw nothing tactically last season or in pre-season to suggest that. So this is why I always push back on this. We're saving ourselves to the end of the season. Arteta's waiting to the next part. It feels like we see these things, not just our club, but a lot of football fans see things throughout a season. And then the next season happens and they develop amnesia. And I just think a lot of them are negatively and positively naive. Look, Arteta promised Kepa all the league games from the start. I don't agree with it, but it's the reality. Yeah, but He's then come out and said, one, I don't promise people. Two, we all know a promise is a comfort to a fool. Three, we all know all managers are liars. There's probably been bare promises that Arteta's told several of those players, past and present, and at every one of the clubs. So why are you adhering to him? Because I don't necessarily think this is the case. And I think it's a cop-out to just scapegoat and blame Kepa, you know. I genuinely think it is. Because away from the mistake, he weren't that bad. Yes, we need to use our minds in that he is limited. I wanted Raya. He's made the mistake, which has changed the game. You get it? But I think there's greater questions with the playing out from the back, with the short and going long, with actually our players just pulling their fucking fingers out and trying stuff. Why is it to him? Because for me, I don't think this is the case. But being devil's advocate, you're putting Kepa's needs above everybody else. Then you could be cruel to Kepa to be kind to the squad. Because we always talk about no time for sentiment and all of these kind of things and being ruthless until it's time to actually do this thing. The same thing could have happened with Raya. Fair enough. He played your best keeper. Kepa helped us get all the way there. You can have your ego. For what it's worth, Kepa's experience, I don't think it's the case. You can have your ego and be upset. Plenty of them players are probably upset that they couldn't play through injury, being on the bench, or the manager's decision. With first final in 6 years, could give us a lift. Could do something psychological for the whole Arsenal versus City. Fans are watching from all over the world. People from all over the country are trekking to the Emirates. That tells me his needs are above the club's then. If I'm being devil's advocate and maybe being a bit naive. First final in 6 years. If there's two positions you can't really play around with, it's your goalie and your striker, no? And where's the promise? And then I know it's not the same and he might not have wanted to, but when you come Arteta, you have said before, I would sub keepers. I don't think subbing Raya and On is going to do anything, but boy, give him a Champions League game against someone in the first leg. There's bare options. Nah, dead that. Bro, if it was up to me, Kepa, that you done your job, innit? Like, you done your job, my boy. Like, you done your job. Like, Raya, step in. You're playing that. You're playing in the Champions League. You're obviously playing in the Premier League. Kepa, you could start against Southampton. Obviously, depending on who we get in the latter, assuming we win, the latter stages beyond that, that's your thing. This is the reality, bro. Like, this is the reality. We can hide behind this winning through harmony and the squad and stuff. And I'm not saying this to be positive or negative. Unfortunately, in any working environment or organizational football team, there are squad players that make themselves regulars or, especially at this part of the season, stand up to be counted and help us. When we won the league at Old Trafford, did we play our strongest lineup? But no, but there is a hierarchy. And I'm at the point where, for me, football's decided in both ends. As much as the players, and this is a mature conversation, as much as the players need to do it on the pitch, and I've obviously been critical of the gaffer, football's decided at both ends, right? Not that Trafford had anything to do, but when he did have stuff to do, he was equal to it. In the City's case, right? Everyone would agree with that. And it's not just these two or these two moments, but football's decided in both ends. Kai Havertz has had the best chance of the game, which there's a bigger conversation as to why we haven't created that much. For City as well, even though they won. When you win, who cares? They probably did analyze the game to look to improve things. Us, we defo do. But football's decided in both ends. Kepa's flapped at it. Kai's missed that chance. Football's decided at both ends. Especially in a game of that magnitude. The forward that's been there, or we know he was playing behind Gyökeres, but he was there, he missed. Kepa made the mistake. To a degree, I'm not vexed at them. I'm not vexed at them because you know Kepa's got that in him. You've been seeing Kai Havertz on knife edge with those chances. And I'm not drawing out the players. They can help you in certain moments, but crunch time, you need to cut the romance. Fair play. Will Tour as well, bad boy. Crypty is more than welcome. Yeah, defo Kepa does not appear any more games. Raya's our number one and we're deep in business. I'm not being funny. This ain't play scheme, little kid stuff, bro. Like, this is football, bro. I play second, third choice keeper in League Cup finals if I could reload too. We've got to talk about Arteta for real now. Too clever for his own good. Really believes he's got the reload option in FM. He dies on his sword, but it's the wrong sword. Like, this is everything we've worked on going into the game. We're staying like this. And when you do change, it is Dalman at Anfield. Bit Dalman at Everton. Yesterday, like Martinelli coming on the 80th minute. When we're kind of accepting that we're not going to get nothing, that's when the man make changes. Individuality has left the game, in it, and it is all about systems. We are in an element of systemic football. What you do without the ball dictates, what the opponent on the ball does. We saw that with our whole topic about playing out from the back and going long and going short. But you need to play the right guys. Life is a contradiction. I've said this before. I think Arteta's biggest issue is his best gift and his best curse is he's an overthinker. And there are certain lessons, lived experiences, because although we ain't been in any finals, I felt the same way against PSG in terms of for the boys starting the game well and dropping off a cliff. Man United at home, in terms of reading the temperature just before the 2 goals have gone in. That reminded me of just before Szoboszlai scored that screamer. These are the things, Arteta, I think you've got enough lived experiences to know as a manager in your duration at Arsenal. And, you know, you've got your player experience. And obviously, you've been at Manchester City. This is now where I'm a bit harsh on you. I'll maintain. I do think you're a genius. I do think you're a good tactician. You've shown me you can compete with whatever. And think you know ball like that. But you're not a winner. I know you've won cups and stuff, but you're not a winner. That's the conversation we're at now. You've rebuilt, done all of this stuff. We're competitive again. I can't talk you up enough, but you're not getting over the line. And I think some people are very disingenuous because they either blame the gaffer, or what I think comes out like yesterday, like on Sunday, which pisses me off, is if we won, it would have all been a gaffer. When we lose, it's, yes, the players have to take accountability, but it's like, man, want to microscope everything before the gaffer. And then people say things like, Arteta didn't build the squad. When like, oh, we need players with generational talent. We need players with stardust. Yeah, I agree. But who assembled it? So in the same way, if I'm giving you praise on our defensive ethos, you know, the recruitment in some regards, negatively I have to ask questions, no? And every year you don't get over the line, it's getting bigger and bigger. And I support Arsenal. Don't support Mikel Arteta. Beyond, obviously, you and all these players, you're connected to the club, innit? Arteta is actively coaching anti-football. It's a stupid sword to die on because Arsenal has the personality to play real football. DG, do you think the result would be different if Raya played instead? I don't think so. We still have a flawed, blunt attacking with flawed system. Yes and no, because I think Kepa does make mistakes, but I don't think he makes that mistake. And although, you know, I don't think you can just blame the keeper. The temperature was in City's favour. We were pending our own half. I do think that kind of changed the game a bit because you could see heads dropping and whatnot. So maybe if that doesn't happen, we soak up a bit more pressure. It goes to extra time, whatever, innit? But I think no, in hindsight, I still think City would have won because I saw nothing to suggest that, you know, the players need to pull it out. But I saw nothing to suggest that, yo, like, what are we doing here, innit? What are we doing here? But yeah, people, I forgot to mention, yeah, Kepa, Eze is out. Obviously, Arsenal's Eze could be out for a month with injury. Eze is set to miss a crucial spell of Arsenal's season. Amid concerns he'll miss about a month through injury. Eze, 27, suffered a calf injury in last week's win over Leverkusen. He struck that volley far too hard, which caused him to miss Sunday's Katyarabao loss to Manchester City and withdrawn from the latest England squad. Sources have indicated initial fears are the attacking midfielder could miss between 4 to 6 weeks. Arteta did say he'll have a scan this week to determine the full extent of his injury, people. The impending return of Captain Odegaard will help ease the impact of Eze's loss. Apparently, Odegaard's had a knee issue, people, a knee injury. He's been out for a month. There's hope he'll be fit to play after the international break. He's obviously going to miss the games against Holland and Switzerland, people. So, yeah, that is what it is. Arsenal in sudden injury crisis, a 6 stars withdrawal from international duty. Trossard's withdrawn from Belgium due to an ankle injury. Now, these could be legitimate injuries, could be little white lies in it, but he's obviously pulled out. Gabriel Magalhaes has obviously joined him in pulling out. He's got an injury or pain in his right knee, so he won't play against France or Croatia. That's going to be a very good game. Probably in our live stream tomorrow, we'll go over a bunch of these tabs, people. There's a lot to discuss as well. Eze and Timber were compelled to withdraw from the England and Netherlands setups. Eze has been replaced by Harvey Barnes, who will be accompanied... What? Eze has been replaced by Harvey Barnes, who will be accompanied by Arsenal right-back Benjamin White. The defender has been recalled into the England setup. Okay. Saliba's out of France as well, people. So, yeah, man. A couple of players are pulling out of international duty and things of that ilk. Who else have we got? Fear stops you progressing. Gaffer, I think that's for you. You know, I think that's for you. Big up Hand of Arsenal, who is a moderator on this platform. I'd love to meet him this one day. Although if I walk past him, you know, he's quite anonymous, wouldn't know who. Everton are showing strong interest in Ben White, while other clubs have made inquiries. It is the Toffees who are leading the race as of today. The strategy is the same as last summer. Andrea has been identifying multiple targets, their personal terms, price range, and squad stylistic need before narrowing down a list. More or less, most of the names you have seen been inquired about, Livramento, for example, would jump at the chance to sign for Arsenal should we firm up our interest. The same could be said for Alex Jimenez at Bournemouth. I like him going forward. The way Bournemouth play, I can see the intangibles. I'm not sure on him defensively. Arsenal will begin to formalise interest in their final shortlist in the near future. There's a strong emphasis on the mandate to sell well this upcoming transfer window, a criteria that Andrea Berta will be judged on heavily this summer. Fair play, people. And we're still being linked with Ryan, who's at Bournemouth now. We've been linked with Crompty. This away from hand of Arsenal. We've been linked with Julian Alvarez. Apparently, it's AC Milan and Arsenal for Goretzka. So yeah, people, it is what it is in that regards, man. Saka's been crap in the 10. Apart from like when he first went there, like whenever it was decent. Other than that, it's BS, innit? What games will he miss, fam? Without Odegaard or Eze, we're in big trouble. I mean, Odegaard's not going to be fully. You got Odegaard, Eze. Sorry, you've got Odegaard, Havertz, barely fully fit. Neither setting the world alight in crunch time. Well, don't give me pretty football, innit? I do want that. Just get the job done. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not my job to know how you man are gonna do it. Get the job done, get the league done. To a part of me, as much as compete in the FA Cup, I want to win that. Compete in the Champions League, I want to win that. All eggs in that Premier League basket, personally. The cup final game made me understand why Odegaard drops deep to start our build-up play. I know he hasn't been good, but we seriously need him, especially now that Eze is out. Odegaard, please. That will be the end of us. Saka in the 10, Noni on the right is what I want to see. Odegaard can come off the bench. But he's out for a month, including international break. Don't think he'll be that bad. If I had to play a full 90 against Man City and the gaffer does a madness with the selection, I'm only human, man. I'm not sure what you mean by that. The players say so often Riot injects confidence in us. And again, I'm sure they believe in Kepa. I'm not making it about Kepa, but we all play ball, bro. You know when we all play Sunday League or whatever. You know when the keeper's certified, it gives you confidence. You know when he's a bit shaky. I'm not saying Kepa's crap, but you know when he's a bit shaky or shook. I always give you the example of, my old Sunday League team. The first keeper, George, bloody brilliant. You know if you made a mistake, he's getting you out of that. The other keeper, you just have to hit the target. I promise you this guy was 6'3", can't get up, can't get down, can't play out from the back, hasn't got a goal kick. You know when Sunday League, maybe not in the Prem, but when a centre-back has to take your kicks, you're going nowhere. I always give you the example. I promise you, 25 yards out, I gave away a free kick, and I just knew it was going in. My friend even asked me on the pitch, why are you vexed? I'm like, this is in, and it's indirectly my fault, innit? I've given away the foul. And it wasn't a dead free kick, but it was a dead free kick. I might just hit the target. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Low key, we need Saka and Martinelli to step up. All players have highs and lows. These guys have been proper subpar this season. Sad to say, they have in particular, and all our front options have for the whole totality. Some men have had form and played games without necessarily scoring. But if we were to break down the defensive unit, midfield unit, and attacking unit, you man are collectively, you man have failed. And if I'm saying that about the 4 to 6, maybe even 7 guys that could qualify in that unit, they all have to take accountability. But then that leads me to look at the gaffer, because if everyone's failing, there's an issue. No time for charity minutes. Bring me my effing silverware. The emotions get us nowhere. Just get over the line. Facts. There must be some curse on paying any player 300k a week. Saka fall off since it's heartbreaking. Yeah, but he's been shit all season. As much as I love Saka, so is it a money thing? It can't be. It is a cop-out to scapegoat Kepa. Kepa got Arteta out of jail because ultimately it is on Arteta, whom failed tactically and failed to be proactive when it was all going wrong. Too much heat on Kepa. Yes, he made a mistake, but the rest of the team didn't show up. As the saying goes, no gluts, no glory. Let's hope we win this league. And that's my thing. I think Kepa takes the heat away from the obvious, innit? There's only some of us that could say, yeah, maybe Kepa weren't terrible, but he's made a mistake and he looked shaky for both the goals. Short and long range passing. Players need to stand up. There's not one Arteta as well. All the things we're saying, it's not one singular reason, bro. There's about 4 or 5 different ingredients as to why we didn't win this bit of silverware that we wanted, and why just generally we didn't have the performance we wanted. Because we'd still be vexed if we didn't win the Premier League, didn't win the League Cup final. But if we lost to the better men. But if you lose to the better men, it is what it is. There was more to give. My big thing in the preview we was talking about, people, was, simply put, have no regrets for the gaffer and the players. Complete opposite. Yeah, but even if you're a cold man social, do you know how much stuff I've learned from being in certain environments when I've been titles along that? So you could always learn. DG the tab saying anything meaningful beyond Eze out. Are certain players not playing international and a few summer links? Summer links, but it's dead, man. And I just feel none of us really care about it right now. Make sure you recycle them both sharp. DJ, I think the injuries have collapsed him. I hope he gets back by SM myth, man. Arteta must get heat. He either gets way too much heat, and I say way too much subjectively because you deserve all this smoke, but I just feel there's vested agendas. or he gets none. And I'm sorry, but people act like certain times when things don't go all right our way, yeah, people love to hide behind, oh, so we've only had 4 losses. Yes, but we've also lost the final. People act like he's just taking the job and you're kind of having to pick what you've got. People act like he's not meant to be the one with the answers. Bro, this is what the realm we're at. If you want to sit at the big table, there has to be big boy questions. We can't recall Ethan, bro. It's done. Next season thing for you. Eze never drops deep to help link up play. Cap, he does. Cap, very big cap. Come on that 300. Come on, that 300k is compensation for that injury. Same thing United did messing up Martial and Rashford's back. If Saka don't take 6 months off of rehab, it's Rashford settings. God forbid, man, but it's darkness. I unfortunately, though, people, man, I do love the chat we're having. I've just got some things to do this evening, so I'm going to have to cut this short. It was actually meant to be a 45-minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Any talking points we've missed, obviously, we'll circle back on them. You lot, make sure you're smashing like buttons, you're subscribing and all that sort of jazz. And I'll see you lot soon, man. One love. Check out the rest of the other videos. Make sure you're following on all social platforms. Deluded Gooner on everything. And most importantly, stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.